This broadcast is inappropriate for all ages, right here on #WeAreMovieClub. It's time for Bad Movie Club. I guess I should. Bad Movie Club. Should do it right. Should start right with the energy that bad movies deserve. Movies so bad that their ideas become manifest, and we watch them to entertain ourselves with their horrid digitalness. That's not exactly true in this case. I just need to practice saying that so that I earn my penny. Yeah, I wish I made a penny. That would be great. Okay, it's going to be another Coffee's cast. So hopefully that won't be so bad. But we're still on our Kevin Smith run. Sunday at 7 p.m. over on Rabbit/Camera. We watched Mallrats. Nobody really joined in, but that's okay. I don't know if I really expected it for Mallrats. Now, to be completely fair, I don't know if it's Netflix or what, but there will be a TV series that's being shot for Mallrats. Didn't warrant a Mallrats 2 movie, apparently. But the audience who likes this sort of thing apparently likes TV shows. So they went that direction. And that's good. You may hear a little bit of background noise. I'm trying to finish up something I was working on. It's okay. I promise you. It'll only be minorly distracting. So, I should probably pull up my show notes. Always good to have. Mallrats, not Thor. So, I can go through this. This has some very similar themes to Clerks. This was Kevin Smith's first kind of endeavor into real filmmaking, if you will. And I don't agree with that, but that's what he says all the time. So I can only do as much as to parrot the good Kevin Smith to a point, anyways. Yeah. So if he's not too hot on it, how possibly could we be? We like his movies. That's why we're fans. That's why we do things. That's why I'm doing this run. Not because I think they're bad movies, but because honestly, I kind of want an excuse to watch them again. Because even if they are bad movies, even if we have that argument and you win, I still like it. You can't convince me that I don't like it, because I like it. And that's the fact of the matter. Son! So, where are we at? I'm just going to stick this right here. Excuse me. So, of all the ways to start this movie off, he wanted to, I'm sure he wanted to give them a little bit of what they got last time with Clerks, but the way they started the movie was, my cousin Walter got a cat stuck in his ass. That's literally the line, and I made sure I quoted it. And it's actually a really long story, so I didn't put the whole quote up. But still, that's a line that not only got in the movie, but it started the movie. That's your first impression of Mallrats. Is one time my cousin Walter got a cat stuck in my ass. Or stuck in his ass, sorry. So, if you were really paying attention, you'll notice it's Jason Lee's rather distinct voice. And I wonder if that's really a thing that he's super proud of. He's like, this one time at movie camp, I got to start out a movie by talking about my cousin Walter that got a cat stuck in his ass. And I realized that I'm no better saying it over and over and over again. But to be quite honest, I don't give a damn. Quite frankly, Tabitha, I don't give a damn about your beefers. Oh, yoga hosers. So it's a funny little story. It's kind of anecdotal of Brody's life in general. That it's a character you haven't met yet when the credits are still rolling, mind you. So it's interesting to see that sort of thing happen, but it actually kind of had a point to it, which is the weirdest part out of everything, is that like his cousin Walter in the story, mind you, goes, well, Brody, how else am I going to get the hamster out of my ass? My cousin Walter was a weird guy. Now, you could say this and that, and again, this was like the 90s. Mallrats, or Clerks came out in 94, this came out in 96, I think. So, the times were not quite ready for people who put hamsters in their butt. I still don't think the time is right for putting hamsters in your butt. The hamster, you can't prove to me the hamster likes it, and that it won't kill the hamster. Don't do that to hamsters. Poor hamsters. Yeah, you can't really convince me on that one. However, do what you do as long as it's not harming anybody. My point was, we were in the 90s, it was still kind of like taboo. It's still like a fetish or whatever, but like for girl on girl. So I think at some point in all this, like we get to that point, and that's Chasing Amy more so. That's the next movie. But in this one, we have like a 15-year-old that's conducting sexual research with men from 14 to 40. And so that was kind of the sticker shock of sex right there. That and the peeping Tom foolery. And it's not that like Silent Bob was peeping per se. It's that his head happened to go through these walls of women's changing rooms. And I think, if I remember correctly, Joey Lauren Adams was actually his girlfriend at the time. I could be wrong on that one. I may have the timeline off. But let's not go back in time too far. Who knows what will disturb. Let's see. So past Cousin Walter, we start with T.S. and Brandy, which is kind of the crux of everything, which is kind of weird. So this really comes down to being a romantic comedy of a collegiate variety. It's almost like it's a nod to National Lampoon, because Kevin Smith is the right age that like he would have watched those movies in his prime, watched these guys shoot up, and been like, I could make something like that, maybe, please. But I find that this story has a lot more moving pieces than some movies. Whereas Clerks was very linear, it was more like a webcomic, bit by bit by bit. This actually had a lot of branching going on and overlapping scenes, more like traditional comics, where they have crossovers and all things like that. Again, showing where Kevin Smith has that. And Clerks had some of this too, but I'm just saying it's more prominent in this. Hell, he even got Stan Lee to get in here. Now, granted, it probably wasn't him. It was probably a deal through Miramax. But, hell, if I remember right, because I watched a lot of the commentary back in the day, because I really like good commentary on movies, but people don't do it right, so most of them aren't worth watching. But they decided, like, hey, we'll make the movie, and then if you want to buy it, buy it. Otherwise, we could sell it to somebody else. And it happened to be just enough. I think he said he got noted a lot, too. There's a particular scene in here, one of the scenes where his head's going through the dressing room walls. He had written the something about Mary joke, where she had cum in her hair. And it's just kind of funny to think about that like he could have had that joke before Ben Stiller did. But it got noted out, and who knows? Maybe like minds think alike, or maybe that note got around. It's like he wanted to put cum in somebody's hair as a joke, and Ben Stiller was like, "That's pretty funny. I'll do that. I'll risk that." Really, it's almost like somebody he took a bet. He said, "I'll do it. Just watch. And I don't know. It's funny like that. So during the whole discussion with between TS and Brandy right at the beginning, like we see links to Clerks already. They're talking about Julie Dwyer. Apparently, the dead girl at the funeral in Clerks was dead because of TS, or indirectly, but like hell, you could blame him. What was I gonna say? My mind just went blank on me there. I'm so sorry. But it becomes like a petty fight argument thing, like typical, like high school stuff. Like I thought this was supposed to be like an older, more mature movie. Like honestly, when it came down to it, but it feels like a coming of age story, which is honestly a little weird. I don't know. Like I don't know what to make of that. But it quickly derails from that. It just kind of sets the movie up. He got in the habit of doing like establishing shots here, where like we're shown a thing, we're shown a gun that later will be fired. So it's the makeup breakup kind of infighting type thing that gets set up. We're shown the dad. They talk about the game show. And then we kind of do the same thing with Brody. Like we set up these parallel stories that then cross over into a mainstream story. But Brody's just a dick. Like where TS is like, he's bad at it, but he's got like legitimate reasoning. Brody is good on execution, but his motivations are off a lot of times, and it's through showing his girlfriend appreciation. It's not that he has ulterior motives like Shannon does. It's that he he's not set up to appreciate her well. He doesn't. How do I say it? And he doesn't show that appreciation. So, but you see by the end of the movie that obviously, like, he does care about her. That is a thing that happens. But I mean, there's just only so much you can do about things. So I don't know. I don't know what to say about that per se. It's fine. Do that. So yeah, I mean, she makes a lot of good points. She has like a good speech there. Kevin Smith writes dialogue well. I don't give a shit what you say about him. He writes good dialogue. And that's that, quite frankly. What? You didn't like the movie. You're a cat. Yeah, I will say that cats don't like Kevin Smith movies. I'll say that. I think I can go out on that limb and say that they don't appreciate his art. If you will. Are you arguing with me or are you agreeing with me? I can't tell anymore. You're just an asshole? Okay. Moving on. Even at the time, like, the whole game show idea was like a nod back. Like, it was just kind of a weird thing to have happen. Because they're, like, other than, like, I want to say it was just at the end, because I want to say, like, the MTV show was dying, Truth or Date or whatever. I think maybe that was the one in the show. But there was, like, a real-life version of that, equivalency of that exact show, and it's been done to death, and I point that out in the show. And they pitch, like, the Tonight Show as, like, the more hip show. Fast forwarding through a lot of this weirdness of, like, relationships and the boys club mentality of the movie, where it's very much like, hey, like, aren't women there to service us and our needs and whatnot? And it becomes very much about earning their affection and the rights to those benefits by giving benefits back to them, if for the purposes of a movie, in a short dramatic burst. In particular, I like the scene where she attacks his libido, and they have, like, a little passionate, like, fucky in the elevator, which I'm hoping she actually enjoyed and appreciated, because, I mean, she's not just okay, she's a little bit of an idiot for dating Brody, but she kind of knows what she's getting into. Or she must have known what she was getting into back then, and she now knows what she's getting into now, and she's set terms to be like, the relationship has to be like this. He's trying to meet those things. So, like, Mallrats 2, where Jason Lee came back, and the guy who plays TS, or his twin, I like this guy. I think his twin, if I remember right, his twin was in Out Cold. I could be wrong. But, it'd be cool to see them come back. Fuck. And kind of see where, like, everything picked up at, because they do something similar with Clerks later, and it's like 10 years later almost, but it would be cool to kind of see the same type of thing happen. Seeing Jay's Silent Bob introed here at the mall of all things, and seeing Jay in his first, like, I'm gonna be a real actor mode, where, like, he's, like, hanging out with the kiddies and stuff. I thought was funny. But there's a lot of great conversations in this one, similar to Clerks. So he wanted to keep that same style in there, obviously, to keep the fans that he had. So there's the Superman sex conversation where it's like, I bet he shoots a load like a shotgun. Only Wonder Woman has a strong enough uterus. And there are questions that if you talk about comics enough, fuck, you're gonna get there. Because, quite frankly, there's only so much in comics you can talk about. It's the things that aren't in the comics that you're eventually going to talk about. Because these people, I've been these people, talk comics to death, and it's how it is. What the fuck is going on with my connection? Every time you hear the bong, it's the internet disconnecting. I hate my life. Cherchez la femme. So, the food court conversation. I actually had that conversation independent of this movie. It's like, no, the food court's not. This isn't the food court. It's like, yeah, it is. It's a food court. It's like, no, the food court's that entire area down there. We're nowhere near it. This is just a table, bro. It's kind of like almost the exact same conversation. So I think it's funny. I like LaFour's that he never talks. He's the Silent Bob of the bad guys. Let's put that in quotes, because quite frankly, they're a bunch of rabble-rousers in this movie. LaFour's is kind of like the point of order. The little kid foiling with the train, Silent Bob, like, slipping on it and stuff. Really great gag. Kevin Smith surprisingly does physical comedy very well. For a guy who openly touts to not wanting to move for a hobby. Kid on the escalator conversation. That was a really kind of dark moment in the movie. Just not only the fact was like that there was the kid on the elevator to spark the conversation, the fact that Jason Lee's character Brody doesn't relent on it, and then the fact that like it becomes a turning point for Brody, that the kid does get caught in the escalator and the security has to leave. And of course that's where he finds out that Stan Lee, if you're unaware, is a comics god. Small G. He created pretty much everything you want. He's the old guy they put in all the Marvel movies. For people like that. Oh, man, so I don't know. The side story with Renee, like trying to anger bang Shannon, like it's almost like no, it definitely is, because obviously, like, Shannon has seen them together, and then it was like, oh, as soon as she's single, I'm going for it, and he's going to hate that, because he hates Brody, for probably good reason, honestly, but he's just a dick about it. Honestly, it's like Brody's not affecting his lifestyle. It shouldn't be that big a problem. It'd be different if Brody was getting in his face and shouting at him all the time. That'd be a different story. But the fun little escape, like, almost it looks like they're on a roof. I don't know where the fuck they go. And then the girl that Silent Bob keeps stumbling into, like, shows up, and the tail, like, it's not... it's so funny to see, like, that whole interaction of just calamity. It's a good representation of what the movie is. It's just one fucked up thing happening and then going wrong and then progressing the story after another, after another, after another. It's a good, fun movie. It really is. All the way up to the point where like the big villain Brandy's dad, Mr. Svenning, I did not want to write that down in my notes, actually calls the heroes to, or the dynamic duo, let's go Robin, to the stage just to bust them like that. And I didn't even put it in my notes, but the stink palm. Like, you just pick your hand in your ass like this. You've been walking around all day, you're no doubt you're sweaty, you're nervous as hell. You pull that out, you shake his hand, he won't know what's happening. He'll try all he won't be able to get that smell out. And you yourself go around walking all day, or around all day with a hand that smells like shit. It's like a small price to play for one's victories. There's a small scene out of the movie for you. But like, he's already armed and like just no intention to do it. It's like, why? It's like when you're telling someone to do that, why do it for real? If you're telling someone else to do it, it's like you're obviously going to do it. The beautiful part was like the melted pretzels. Getting him to lick his fucking hand. Oh God. I'm coughing for other reasons, but that doesn't mean I'm not still nauseated as well. So once they escape to the dirt, they're banished from the mall and they escape to the dirt mall. The topless fortune teller, I cannot for the life of me figure out why he put that in. Because all it's going to do is fuck with the rating. But possibly the third nipple thing saves it. She's a good little actress. She does a great little stick. I don't know why the fake third nipple. And I don't know why the reveal that obviously it's fake. Maybe to represent that she's full of shit. Or that she doesn't know what she's talking about, if you will. But, like, TS sees the value in what she says, even though it's vague and mysterious, to find the way from within himself. So, of course, that leads to, like, the great third act of going and toppling Mr. Svenning at his own game show, where they replace contestants. Oh my God! I almost wish Kevin Smith would do this if he gets into making shows, because who knows if he's gonna actually direct it, even if he writes Mallrats 2 as the TV show. Like, I would love to see him make a game show, like, not for people to really play, but to write out scenes and bullshit like we see in Mallrats, because that's probably one of the funniest things. Like in the movie, it's like, if we were to make Whoopi, what the fuck is that? If we were making love, you mean fucking? Yes. What kind of sounds would you make? No, I think that's a little too personal. I don't think I should answer that. It's amazing. A game show like that, like a Celebrity Jeopardy, a Kevin Smith version of Celebrity Jeopardy, or Celebrity Truth or Date, whatever you want to call it, would be awesome. Ralph Garman could help with that. I don't know if Ralph necessarily needs to do all the voices or whatever, or play characters, but just for celebrity general knowledge. Not saying Kevin doesn't have it, but it is what it is. So, of course, everything ends up happy. Not only does TS win Brandy back through this fantastic showing of bravado. I don't even know what it is. And then Brody not only wins the girl back from his arch nemesis, he gets to punch Shannon while he's cuffed. And he gets a gig on The Tonight Show. Which, I don't know where Letterman went. I guess I'm assuming that's who it is. The late shows I don't pay attention to. I never got the draw. And then they have like this weird, like, it was kind of a thing in the 90s or late 80s, early 90s. That of course it was a time in television. Everything that like Kevin Smith drew on when he watched stuff. They did kind of the prolonged musical credits or whatnot, where like, this is where this person went, this is where that person went. And I wonder if with the idea of doing Mallrats 2, they're going to have to retcon that. Because that would actually be pretty interesting to see how they retcon that, which points. Of course, we did the introduction of Suzanne, which we don't see again until Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, but it's only 3 movies away. Because it's Clerks. Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. Hold on. Clerks, Mallrats were there. So 1, Chasing Amy, Dogma, Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. I feel like I'm missing a movie. I think that's the original Saga 5, but I feel maybe I'm counting Vulgar, which we shouldn't. But because those are the Clerks, Mallrats, Chasing Amy were the original 3. Clerks 2 doesn't happen until after Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. I don't know. The point is that there are more movies to come. So next week we're going to be doing Chasing Amy. Come over and join us at Rabbit/Camerai. We'll be watching that next Sunday, 7 p.m. Eastern. And then we'll keep this going. We'll do Dogma. We'll do Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. We'll do as much as we can. Clerks 2. I'm forgetting movies. Tusk, Yoga Hosers. I don't think Moose Jaws will be out by the time we're finished with it, but if it were, we'd do it. If you're unaware, Moose Jaws is the 3rd of the Canadian horror saga that Kevin Smith is making, and I'm quite looking forward to it because it is just Jaws with a moose. So until you see us next time, I am Camerai. And this has been Bad Movie Club. Right here on #WeAreMovieClub. Want to see anything else we're up to, go ahead and click the annotations, and they'll take you to our other channels. Thanks for watching.